A China Eastern Boeing 737-800 with 132 people on board went into a near vertical dive and crashed in a remote mountainous area of southern China on March 21st. It was the country's worst air disaster in nearly a decade. Investigators are attempting to piece together the cause of the crash. There had been little hope of finding any survivors. Want to know about it? Well, stay tuned to the video and watch the video till the end. Hello guys, welcome to the Mayday investigation. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to get new updates about plane crashes and basically anything around air crash investigation. Hit the like button to show your support. And in this video, we are going to talk about China Eastern Airlines Flight 5735. So, without any further ado, let's begin. Speaking on reporters on Saturday night, Hu Zhenjiang, Deputy Director of the Civil Aviation Administration of China, confirmed that there were no signs of life from the crash site and all 123 passengers and 9 crew members had been killed. State media said rescuers have found 36,001 plane wreckage pieces across a search area of 370,000 square meters, Zhu said. Over 1,100 counselors and medical professionals reached out to victims' family members. The crash created a deep pit in the mountainside. Xinhua news agency reported, citing rescuers. The report said drones and a manual search would be used to try to find the black boxes, which hold the flight data and cockpit voice recorders essential to crash investigations. The stricken jet, a Boeing 737-800, was fitted with 2 recorders, one in the rear passenger cabin tracking flight data, and the other a cockpit voice recorder. Rescuers are still looking for the other recorder. Aviation authorities have scoured the site's rugged terrain for clues as to what sparked China's deadliest plane crash in nearly 30 years. Airline and aviation officials say that they've not found any faults with the plane or concerns about flying conditions. The Civil Aviation Administration of China said that the plane, which was less than 7 years old, had passed all checks prior to takeoff. Once in the air, it had also flown the normal flight path, though not dangerous weather, said Mao Yangfeng, head of the aircraft investigation at CAAC. Air controllers had been in contact with the plane right until it nosedived, after they received no response to multiple urgent calls. Tracking site Flight Radar 24 showed the plane cruising along at a typical 29,100 foot. 2 minutes and 15 seconds later, it had plunged to 9,075 feet. The plane reached maximum descent speed of 31,000 feet per meter, or 157 meters per second. A nearby surveillance camera caught footage of what appeared to be a plane plunging directly towards Earth, according to a manager at Wuzhou City, Baishan Mining. Local villagers were first to arrive at the forested area where the plane went down. China holds a strong record in aviation safety, with no fatal commercial aircraft crashes in recent years and millions of flights operating without incident. The tragedy comes as the nation is set to overtake the US as the world's largest aviation market by the middle of the decade, with domestic traffic bouncing back towards pre-pandemic levels last year. Today, China's own aviation regulations are even more stringent than the FAA's, following the March 2019 crash of a 737 MAX 8 jetliner operated by the Ethiopian Airlines. Chinese regulators grounded 96 aircraft operated by Chinese carriers within 20 hours, including 14 planes operated by China Eastern. Despite 737 MAX aircraft getting the FAA green light to fly again last May, China waited until the winter before it allowed the planes to fly in the country, the last major market to do so. The aircraft involved in Monday's crash was not a MAX. It had been delivered to Shanghai-based state airline China Eastern from Boeing in June 2015 and had been flying for more than 6 years. The single-aisle, twin-engine Boeing 737 is one of the world's most popular aircraft for short and medium-haul flights. The last fatal crash of a Chinese airliner occurred in August 2010, when a Henan Airlines Embraer ERJ-190-100 hit the ground near the runway in the northeastern city of Yaichun and caught fire, killing all 44 people on board. Investigators blamed pilot error. Per the Associated Press, China Eastern's last fatal crash was in 2004, when all 53 passengers and crew on a Bombardier aircraft died when it crashed after takeoff in Baotou, Inner Mongolia, per Bloomberg. China Eastern has expressed its deep condolences for the passengers and crew members who died in the plane crash and said it would ground all of its Boeing 737-800 jets starting on Tuesday. Neither China Eastern nor Boeing has officially commented on the crash, but the latter's shares fell 7.8% in pre-market trading in New York upon news of the tragedy. The extent to which the crash will be investigated remains to be seen. Newberry says that in the past there has been a tendency in China to attribute blame to one scapegoat, draw a line under an incident and move on, rather than adopting a just culture system, which holistically examines all contributing factors and shares accountability across an organization. Air accidents are nearly always hugely complex, and just to seize upon an individual and punish them quite often covers up systemic problems, which aren't addressed, he says. Things like fatigue, pilots who are poorly trained on badly designed airplanes in weather conditions that were not conducive to flight safety, quite often have bearings on accidents. Following the incident, the company launched a safety overhaul, grounding all 223 of its Boeing 737-800 planes for checks. The disaster provoked an unusually swift public response from President Xi Jinping, who ordered an inquiry as aviation authorities began an extensive 2-week checkup of China's vast passenger fleet. A notice from the State Council and Ministry of Emergency Management on Wednesday called for industries across the board to rectify potential safety hazards. It is with great sadness that we here announce that the 123 passengers and 9 crew members on board China Eastern Airlines flight MU-5735 on March 21st have all died. Hu Zhenjiang, deputy commander of the headquarters and deputy head of the Civil Aviation Administration of China. A physics and chemistry laboratory of the Public Security Authorities has tested 41 samples out of 66 from the crash site and found no major ion components of common inorganic or organic explosives, said Cheng Shi, head of the fire brigade of the Guangxi region, at a press briefing on Saturday afternoon. According to local media reports, passengers on the plane included a group of 6 friends and relatives traveling to Guangzhou to attend a memorial service. Executives from a Guangzhou mining company, a 22-year-old woman who married 5 months ago, and a 36-year-old woman returning to Guangzhou after going home for Lunar New Year. A villager told state media that he had heard a huge explosion and rushed to the scene by motorcycle. After driving for 3 or 4 minutes around the area of the crash, he did not see any victims of their remains. A man driving on an expressway by Wuzhou told Beijing Youth Daily that he saw the plane nosediving into the mountains at 2:23 p.m. It felt almost vertically, said the man, who was identified only by his surname Li. The plane's rapid descent began at the point when it would have been beginning to head to land. According to tracking data, veteran crash investigator John Cox said that while an airliner might normally descend at 6,000 feet per minute, the 737 was plummeting at more than 3 times that rate. We just don't know what was happening in that cockpit, and we won't know until we get flight data information, and hopefully we can get that, said Jeff Gazzetti. Gazzetti said it's rare to see an airliner plummet so suddenly, but he pointed to 2 crashes involving 737s from Indonesia that bear similarities. In the most recent incident, in January 2021, the plane's auto-throttle system had been implicated, although the investigation remains ongoing. In a 2007 crash, investigators concluded that pilots inadvertently disconnected the autopilot. CBS News correspondent Chris Van Cleve said that 737-800 is part of the next-generation family of Boeing 737 lineups. More than 7,000 have been built, with fewer than 25 accidents that rendered the planes unusable since they first took flight in 1997. Van Cleve said that unverified video purportedly showing the plane in a steep nose-down dive right before it crashed matches the early flight data available from flight tracking websites. The U.S. Federation Aviation Authority told CBS News in a statement on Monday that it was aware of reports that a China Eastern Airlines Boeing 737-800 plane crashed in China. The agency said it stood ready to assist in the crash investigation, if asked to do so by Chinese authorities along with the National Transportation Safety Board, but it noted that China would take the lead by default. Now that we've come to the end of this video, I want to thank you for sticking with me, and I'd love to know what you think of it. Just comment down below. Also, if you like this video, make sure you like it and stay safe. Today's video is over, but if you want to see more, there's one on your screen right now, and there are a few more videos coming soon about air crashes investigations. I'll see you in the next video.